Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Let's get ready to be at our best now. Be at our best.
Yeah, it's going to be a boring one today.
Those guys don't all suck.
You son of a B!
ASAP, any score, any place, you know we bring well. We bout there. We'll pull up on anybody and get it done.
Suck it, Raiders.
He is dead.
I love you, Jeff, but
Joe, start fast.
They the next team on our schedule, and we trying to do something big here. We trying to win a Super Bowl.
Another beautiful day.
It is.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Charger Chat. I'm your co-host, Wolldog, sitting with my two brothers, Kev, Hug, and Duggan.
Well, hello, everyone.
And Kyle, the coach, Duggan.
You know, Kevin, just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber, you go and do something like this and totally redeem yourself.
Welcome, everybody, to the Charger Chat. We've got plenty to talk about. There's a lot of interesting news that's been coming out in regards to, whether or not we're going to have a season. There's been some internal Charger chatter going on, and we've got a couple of big celebrations to have. But first, as we always do, what is going on in the life of the Duggan brothers? And honestly, I feel like I could just throw it out to both of you at the same time.
Well,
Age before beauty.
all right, I'll go first. A little bit of both. So originally we were planning on going on like a little mini vacation and going to Albuquerque, New Mexico to see family.
Nice.
And Kyle wasn't going to be able to be there. So we basically got there, had a nice little weekend. And then my wife and I decided, you know what? We're halfway to San Diego. Let's just keep this thing rolling. Keep this
We need us some Kyle.
Keep rolling down the road. And we just got all the way out here and took another 14 hours. And next thing you know, we were here.
Another 14 hours.
It was a while. It was a good drive with stops and all that jazz. So we finally got here, and then we were only going to stay for 3 or 4 days. And next thing you know, we ended up extending, and we're going to be here for about 12. So
There you go.
no real reason to go home right now because everything's kind of shit and shutting down and not a
Sure.
lot going on. So might as well stay around family and have fun. So I'm in front of Kyle. I can look at Kyle right now. I see his face.
I know that feeling.
fucking
I know what it
face.
feels like.
And not to mention, since Kevin's been here, he's gotten 2 alerts on his phone. One was for a tornado touching down,
Oh my
Tornado
God.
and
warning.
a flash flood. Both were happening in Missouri while
I
he was
missed
here.
both of those things, thank God.
Oh my
So
God.
chilling in 70 to 80 degree weather is not too shabby.
Wow.
I do miss San Diego.
Oh
So,
my God. That
what
sounds
about Kyle?
amazing.
What about you, do? Besides everything I already know.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much that's consumed my whole life now. I do it all day, hang out with you. So that's what's
Pool
going
days,
on.
man. All pool days, all the time.
Yeah, I'm working on my tan and like every day is just throwing my nephews around in the pool. So
There you go.
getting little pumps here and there. So yeah, everything's going good, man.
What about
Awesome.
you, Bulldog?
It's hot as blazes up here. At least it feels like it. I think being on the top level of an apartment building, all the heat just rises. And so it's just a constant sauna in my freaking apartment. But
The only thing I can think of is the fat bastard line when he says, when you walk into an apartment and you smell what everyone's cooking.
Yeah.
It's like that.
It's like that.
Plus crap.
Plus crap. Absolutely. That's kind of what it's been like. But otherwise, just staying busy and just watching what's going on in the news of the NFL and the Chargers and everything like that. Just today, folks, the trailer for HBO Hard Knocks dropped. Oh, man.
Goosebumps.
Goosebumps.
Fucking
folks.
goosebumps.
It is so... I hope it doesn't end up being like just the biggest tease in the world for like something awesome, but it looks so freaking good. It's really exciting. So again, get yourself HBO Max if you have to. But it's gonna be awesome.
Fun story. Apparently with AT&T, you get HBO. Been paying it for about 3 years. Didn't know I had access. So I did a little deep dive. I can now watch Hard Knocks, no problem.
Wow.
So I'm pumped.
So how did you get so obsessed with the Raiders last year when they were on Hard Knocks?
I stole it. So now I'm legal. Now I feel like my team's in it. I should do it legit and not because I didn't really care, but I just wanted to see what was up. It
Oh
was
yeah,
football.
well you ended up caring and you drafted
will
Antonio Brown in the
dude.
first round.
I will smack you in your mouth.
The other thing I'll say about the trailer is we were wrong, guys. We really thought there was going to be the fight for LA is still alive type of a title slide.
Nothing.
Wasn't there.
Yeah, they kind of played
really
it like this is just what's happening in this city. And
Yeah, it's like
toggle
this
back
two
and
teams.
forth.
Yeah,
that's what it was like. Hard Knocks, Los Angeles. You know, like these both teams just coexist, and that's how it's going to be.
which isn't
No,
bad. I
I'm
don't hate
happy.
that. I think that's kind of cool.
It's our city.
I mean,
Sorry,
yeah, we'll
right.
still. I mean, they're still going to do it. That's friction. That's what's happening
Hollywood.
in Los Angeles. Exactly. So there's going to be some drama, no doubt. But as far as what's been going on in the league, there's been a lot of talk back and forth between the NFLPA and the league in regards to what is going to be happening, what they're going to do to ensure that we can try to have a season. There's been a lot of players, including J.J. Watt, Richard Sherman, who have been very vocal about trying to come to an agreement with what it is that's going to happen. And so far, these are some of the things that we've heard. The league has accepted the NFLPA's proposal for no preseason games.
Crazy.
Which is very interesting. And I think I saw an article, or at least a headline, talking about Carolina Panthers dealing with new head coach, new coordinators, new quarterback, going into a season with no preseason games.
Those
Crazy.
teams are definitely at a disadvantage.
Yeah, well, we play Cincinnati week 1. Joe Burrow, no preseason games, is going to be expected to go out there and play against our defense.
Yeah,
that's going to be tough for them.
Yeah, for sure.
That's so.
And
crazy.
it makes me that much more excited that we have Tyrod. You know, that it's not falling on Justin week 1.
Agreed, 100%. That's so huge.
And I think it's going to be the understated thing throughout the whole, beginning of the season is like it's going to be rusty football. By all accounts, there's going to be not really the pristine NFL by November or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see what these other teams do. Like even like Tampa Bay, you're going to have to deal with, I know Brady's there, but Brady is going to be with the team at all until 2.5, 3 weeks. That's all they're going to get.
Right.
So it's just going to be an interesting dilemma for a lot of teams that don't have any, rapport or anything like that coming into it. So I'm glad that we have, like Kyle was saying, Tyrod.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think about how that'll affect our season of Hard Knocks? Because it's like you kind of look forward to those games and you get to see some of the drama. How do you think it'll affect training camp in general? Like, I have a feeling that like in competition in practice is going to be a lot more intense because like you can't look to that game to show up. Like I'm sure there's this, I don't know this to be truth, but I'm sure there's some kind of like unwritten rules of when you're in practice, you don't go like 110% if you're going against a vet or
they're your boys. You're not trying to hurt anybody.
Right.
But now you're an undrafted guy trying to earn a roster spot. You have to go a little bit more if you don't have any preseason games.
Yeah.
It's going to be. It's just going to be interesting to see what amount of even contact these guys are going to have. There's been other stipulations that have come out in regards to the conversation between the NFLPA and the league. They're saying that they will be conducting daily testing for the first 2 weeks of camp. After those 2 weeks are up, and if the percentage of cases is below 5%, then testing will be moved to every other day. I wonder what that means.
Of testing. That's a lot of testing. Every single day they're going to get swabbed,
Yeah.
And then, but it's so weird to me because you don't really know what the tests. It doesn't. They must have the immediate test where it's like, bam, they get the results right away. Because a lot of this stuff you're not going to know till after like 7 days in most cases, if you even have it. So it's just interesting how they're. It seems like the NFLPA is really, buckled down and really made some demands to make sure everybody's safe, which is good. That's what you have to do.
Right.
So
yeah, I think I saw they spend $75 million on testing. So I have a feeling that they're not dealing with the same testing that the general public has to deal with in regards to taking over a week to get the results. I think it wouldn't surprise me if they've got their own lab.
It's just interesting to me that like in an NFL team or the NFL will get better testing than like the population.
Yep.
It seems it's just like the priorities are so interesting. I love football. I want it to come back, but there's like maybe there's a fundamental problem with that
Absolutely.
happening, and
Maybe there's that quarterbacks get paid $400 million and teachers make 40,000. Yeah, there's some flaws.
There's a lot of disparaging.
Well, that's not what we're here
issues.
for. All right,
We're not here for the negative downer political
Yeah.
stuff. So let me.
It's a
get
solid
to-
point, though.
backwards, and then I agree totally with you, Adam. Whatever you were saying before.
No,
I said
it's a
that.
great point. The thing that I'm questioning is when they say if the percentage of cases is below 5%, what percent? Are we talking about the team players? Are we
It's
talking
the
about
tier? From what I read, it's the tiers. So it's like the people in the building, and then it's the people that work in the building and the players.
Interesting.
So you take all of those. Say there's 80 players plus whatever the people working at the building. Say there's like 160, 5% of 160.
Right.
How does that? How is that? I don't see how it's going to stay under 5%.
That's what I'm curious about. So 5% of 160, which I have a feeling it's more than that, but we'll just say 160. That's 8 people. So they're okay with 8 people getting infected. They're like, that's fine. We can still keep going. But if there's more than 8, you guys,
we're going to keep testing every day.
Yeah.
That's all they're saying. I guess they're
so
assuming
weird.
that people are going to get it. They're just assuming it's going to happen.
That's
they're managing
weird.
expectations for that. Because you get one, just imagine you get one positive result. You're going to shut down the whole NFL? I don't think so. And you're seeing it in these other leagues too, like the NHL's doing it, and they've tested thousands of players, and they're getting reasonable amount. They're getting people that are having it, so they're rolling on. They're just noting that, setting them to the side, making sure the people they were around don't have it. What's going to be crazy is if some of these marquee players get it and get removed from the roster.
So the other thing that's come out too is the Rams are officially announcing that they will have limited or no fans for the upcoming season. Which, I mean, are they the first team to say that that's what?
Well, I'm sure there's other teams. I just haven't been following that closely, but I'm sure there's other teams that have said that. But what's
I don't know that
interesting
I've
is
seen that though.
What that means though is they're sharing a stadium with the Chargers, so their policies have to be the same. And I've seen on Twitter some people talking about how that the season ticket holders, the club reached out to them and was like, "Hey, we're going to push your tickets off to next year, but we'll give you the opportunity to buy single game tickets when they come up," that kind of thing. So it just sounds like that's what it's going to be. They're kind of week by week going to decide how many people are going in. We posted on our Twitter like these little pods you can wear.
I saw that.
Holy shit, would I wear that?
Oh, I'd be so
100%.
down for that.
Dude, no problem. This room, I'm gonna get one now. I have no issues. So we'll see what happens. I definitely not the first couple. I'm hoping when we bought our tickets, they might come to their senses just a little bit and the world might get a little not less crazy.
We'll see.
But we'll see.
Yeah, I saw that the Giants and the Jets both in New York, their governor came out and said, yeah, you're not going to be able to do that. So they've already, as of right now, they wouldn't be able to have fans in their stadium. So I think it's starting to trickle, and obviously LA and New York are two of the bigger cities. So it's going to start there and kind of move its way out. So yeah, I don't know, like it's going to suck not having fans at the game, but my bigger worry is that we don't have any football whatsoever. We've seen these sports start with no fans, and it's not as good of a viewing experience even at home. But selfishly, I just want it to happen. I don't know. I just want to be able to. There's so much that we built up and prepared for, and wanted, like all these storylines we want to know. It's almost like a movie almost about to come out, and then they cut it. Like, nah, you're not going to get to watch this for another year.
There's so many interesting storylines I need to know. I need to have in my life. I need football so bad.
Yeah, it's we all want it, and it's just time's gonna tell whether or not we'll even get it. The option of not even having a football season is still on the table. That's still a possibility of something that can happen. None of us want it to happen. The players have said that they want to play, but there's nothing guaranteeing that even with all of these stipulations in place, that there is going to be a season. So we'll just have to take it day by day and see what comes out. And yeah, it would be great if we can go to that December game, baby, because we all want it. But
reality
Well-
is slowly encroaching upon us. As long as we can watch it on TV, I don't care. That's
at
where
this
I'm at.
point, we just want to be able to see the players play. So, one of the other interesting things that have come out about it that I didn't know about this was that they were going to be reducing the roster size from 90 to 80.
I
Which-
don't have a full grasp on this, Kyle. Like what I guess it makes sense that they're trying to limit the amount of people interacting, but that's only 10 people. I don't get why, and this is an NFLPA thing. This isn't the league deciding this. This is what the Players Association wanted.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what this is.
Honestly, I have no idea. That was my thought, is that they're limiting exposure by not allowing 10 more people into the building, because those 10 people interact with however many people a day. And so you can see that. And also with not having any preseason games, you don't need that fluff in your roster. So I'm sure the teams came together, like whoever the NFLPA rep was, and said, look, there's at least 10 guys that they don't have a chance of making the team. They're just out there kind of being like, well,
It's
they're
harsh
just trying
reality,
out.
but it's
I
real.
know. It's just funny.
I'm sorry. But
No,
it's just like they're
Reality
trying
is
out
10 guys
for,
aren't going to make it. So,
Yeah.
why even let them in the door?
right. Yeah, who cares? But they're trying out in case, and like, oh, maybe I can get that practice spot, or maybe the Canadian League will watch and my agent can use this as an opportunity. So those things may go away. But yeah, I really don't know. I would have assumed they would have added more, because if you get 2 or 3 guys with COVID that go down and can't play, you need guys to be able to fill in. So I really don't understand the 90 to 80 move.
I have 2 things. One, I feel really bad for number 81 through 90, who's already been preparing to be on the roster and be at training camp. Could you
Right.
imagine that phone call, or to read that on Twitter and be like, oh shit, my NFL dreams are just like put on hold for this year? Like, that's absolutely shit.
Mhm.
Second thing, the one thing I was really hoping for Hard Knocks, I hope one of the fullbacks, one of the 2 fullbacks that I liked, isn't 81 through 90, because that would suck. Because they might just go with one of those guys because of that.
They very well might.
So
They very well might. I mean, going
Crazy.
from 90 to 80, I have to imagine that they would just end up increasing the size of the practice squad. And at least given the Chargers,
they have to.
prior
They absolutely
history-
have to do that. Don't you think? They have to have more practice squad players.
There's no practice squad in training camp. Everyone is on. That's why the roster's so big, is everyone's on the team. Training camp doesn't happen until cuts, when they cut to the final roster. So
Mhm.
they're not even able to evaluate those 10 other guys to say if they could make the practice squad.
It's unfortunate.
So those 10 are just out. They're not going to get an opportunity for practice squad. They're not getting training camp. They're not getting the experience. Nothing. So I would love to hear what the benefit of going 90 to 80 is. It sounds like it just sucks for those 10 guys.
It's brutal. So
Well, there you go. It is brutal. And as far as what's been going on in the Chargers news, the rookies have started to arrive for the start of camp on Tuesday, the 21st, with a full roster expected to be reporting by the 28th.
I have never been so excited about seeing a man wearing a mask walking down a hallway towards a camera. And that was Herbert. That means
We
shit's
did
starting.
see Herbert.
That means shit's starting. I was like, oh my God, today
It's happening.
did not cross my mind that it was happening today. And
Mhm.
it just like came out of nowhere, hit me in the face. And then like Hill was on there. The Chargers started posting some of that stuff. Like,
Nice.
that makes me so happy. I'm so happy.
You're so sweet. You're so sweet.
I'm gonna cry. I'm so excited. I'm so happy.
Let's see. This was kind of concerning and perplexing. Hunter Henry and the Chargers couldn't reach an extension agreement before the deadline, so he will play under the franchise tag this year.
I'll pose it to you guys. Let's flip it around. You're the GM, right? You're Tommy Telesco.
Tommy D.
You have the opportunity. So, Hunter's never played a full season. You know the talent potential that he has.
Mhm.
You know that if he has a great year, it could cost you more. But if he also gets hurt, maybe you're questioning if this is a long-term answer.
Mhm.
Would you have signed him going into a season where you don't know if you're going to have a season? Would you have given him a long-term deal?
Well, I'll just jump in. What's scary for me is that just quality wise, there's not a ton of tight ends in the league that have hands like Hunter Henry. So that's what's scary. The idea that not signing him having an awesome season, and then him pricing himself out of what we need to do with Bosa and all these people, that scares me. The injury history is a bummer. But he is productive every single year he's played. When he has played, he's been productive. He's been good.
Mhm.
So if I were Tommy T, I would have done it. But I am a stupid fan. So take that with a grain of salt.
You don't say that about yourself, Kevin.
I'm just stupid.
No.
I don't know. When you say that, it made me go, well, what was Antonio Gates, who's arguably the best tight end that this team has ever had? What was his situation like? And I just pulled it up here. The least amount that he ever played was 10 games, and that was back in 2010. And for the most part, he's had full 16 game seasons. There are just some sprinklings of 15, 13, 11. So Hunter Henry's biggest was basically being out practically the whole season. So I don't know. It's tough. I don't know what's going through the mind of like Kansas City Chiefs when they're signing Mahomes to $500 million prior to this questionable season. So I have
It's
to
the
imagine
opposite
that
of
there's
that approach, essentially.
Yeah, well, I have to imagine that there's a reason why they did that. And with them not coming to an agreement, I don't know if it's something that is on the Chargers front office side or if it's something that Hunter Henry feels like he's worth more than what they're offering.
Do you guys remember how many games he missed in our 2018 campaign when we went to the playoffs and beat the Ravens?
I feel like it was almost the whole season.
Because that's the year he was out a lot, and that was I'm not saying I don't like Hunter Henry.
No,
I
he
think he's a
didn't
great
come.
tight
No,
end.
he was out the whole thing and came back and played that game.
Yeah.
Like he had the immaculate recovery is what I call it.
Oh yeah, he got hurt in the preseason, right? Like during training
Or
camp.
it was like his first or two games. That's when he like broke his kneecap thing.
Yeah.
And he was out. He was gone.
Yeah,
and
so
then
it's
he
like-
had a huge recovery. I believe
That's
it was
where-
the kneecap. But no, I think it was like an ACL. Actually, I was wrong. It was an ACL. It was
So-
like a knee ligament. So
All that to say, like I love Hunter Henry. I think he is a good tight end. I don't know if he's the cog that makes us a great team or a poor team. He's good. I just don't know how much better he is than the next option you have. And
Mhm.
whether that's a rookie, whether that's somebody else floating around the league. So I don't know. I'm not upset with that we didn't get an extension done because I don't know a lot of guys that are on a tag that got a deal done. It was like Derrick Henry was, I think, one of the only ones that got a long-term deal in this weird offseason. So I'm not upset with that. And if he has a great year, we probably still pay him. But yeah, I'm not really too concerned with not paying him. Kevin, you just love all the Chargers. You just want all of them to
Shut
get
up.
paid. You just want all of them
pay
on
them all
max
the
term
money.
deals.
I look through the league and I see all the tight end options. I'm seeing what these guys are doing. Like you don't have hands and a guy that can block like Hunter Henry. So what I'm scared about is his ceiling. His ceiling is so high. He stays healthy. He gets rolling with Tyrod. Dude, he's going to put up some serious numbers this year. And then, holy shit, did we just price ourselves out of doing that? Or should we have done a deal with him when he even can't really explain the injury thing? He didn't really have it in college. Like it feels like now would be a good time to like a bargain deal with him. If he has a huge year, which we're all hoping he does, and we're all hoping the Chargers do, we're kind of fucked with Hunter Henry if he has a great season, because there's a lot of needs next year. This is a crazy year,
Oh, yeah. No, there's a lot of guys that are going to be free agents come the end of this season, whether or not we have it, which will also be interesting. If we don't have the season, does that count towards them and their contract? Is their contract based on a date or is it contract based on the actual season played?
It's got to be based on what we saw last year with Melvin Gordon. It has to be the season, right? Because like if he sat out through week 8 or whatever, he had to play a whole another season under that contract.
Right.
So I would assume it's played seasons, not.
So yeah, if there's no season
you would assume.
played,
Right.
Does that mean we basically get everybody for an extra year?
I don't know because we don't
Doesn't
know.
look like it. No, it looks like they're going to be paying these players whether
Right.
it happens or not. So that's going to accrue a year.
It's based
So-
on if we pay them or not. So I don't know.
So you're getting a lot of things. We might be losing a year on Bosa.
Right.
We might be losing a year on some of these guys. I don't know. There's going to be some negotiations. It's such a unique situation we're in. You know,
Right.
it's hard to say.
Thankfully, it's hard to say, but thankfully the Chargers I saw have the sixth highest cap space, at least this year. And then going into that following season with all of those guys on free agency, it's going to show what kind of cap space we're actually going to have to work with.
Not having a quarterback that needs $50 million a year or
Is
a big
helpful.
difference.
It makes us
Big
be able
difference.
to keep these guys. If we have to keep Tyrod Taylor around for another year, that's still more reasonable than signing one of these giants.
absolutely. And that's also something to consider for Hunter Henry is we don't know. We knew how he played with Phillip Rivers and that style of offense. I don't know what his role is necessarily going to be in this new style of offense with Tyrod Taylor or any mobile quarterback. Is he going to focus more on blocking? Is he going to be more on catching? Or is he still going to be kind of the both player? You know, there's going to be so many targets for both Tyrod and for Herbert to throw to. You know, what is his role really going to be? Like, what is the primary part of it? So
It's funny you were talking about. We were just talking about this not too long ago. Kyle, you were saying that. What were you saying? You just like put him out for passing situations, like not blocking for Hunter Henry.
I would. I'm saying that for all tight ends in the NFL.
mhm.
I just like the whole point of putting a tight end in a run play is to try to deceive the defense. But if that tight end is just going to get beat up, like not block anybody, what's the point of having? It's not a deception.
Better
You're
have
not
another
getting an
tackle
upper
out
hand.
there.
Yeah, you might as well put another tackle out there or a wideout. They at least gets a guy out of the box or something. I don't know.
Mhm.
They're smarter than me and they know more about scheme than me and trying to disguise stuff. But I think the days of a blocking tight end are slowly dwindling. These people get paid so much money, they don't want to go block and get hurt. They want to go. You see tight ends in a slot and a wideout sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have seen Rob Gronkowski. The guy's like a skinny pole, and he's going to apparently go play in the NFL.
He's going to be a wide receiver. He's not going to play block.
Exactly. He's not coming out of retirement to go block people.
This is
you know?
absolutely true.
Yeah.
So it's like the days of it's just a mismatch in a passing scheme. You want a big guy that can run, that can beat linebackers and corners,
Mhm.
not a guy that can block a pass rusher. Like, this is not going to happen.
Right. And the other bit of information that came out, which was just kind of a perspective tweet that came from Chris Hare. Since Joey Bosa entered the league in 2016, the Ingram-Bosa tandem has combined for 72.5 sacks. The only current NFL teammates who have more during that time are the Vikings' Hunter and Griffin, who have 83. And a big reason for their success in Minnesota is new Chargers defensive tackle Linval Joseph.
Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. That is a stat that I'd like to see because you overlook that shit. You really absolutely do most of the time.
Right. He's clearly the key to us getting some more sacks. So again, hopefully we have a season where we actually get to see it happen. It'll be, I'm anxious to see him. There's so many new players that we have that I'm so anxious to see play with our team, with the coordinators and the scheme that they want. You can't help but want it. And whether or not it'll happen, again, we just have to wait and see. But man, do we want it. As I mentioned earlier in the podcast, this episode is a reason for celebration. And I didn't even realize this until Mr. Huggan brought it to my attention. But this is our 1-year anniversary of doing the Charger Chat.
You guys,
That's
I just want to
crazy.
say, you guys mean so much to me. This is like a big day. The fact that we get together and talk a couple times a week, it just really makes me happy. So it's pretty special. Guys, I love you all. Gifts are in the mail.
That was
a special boy.
I don't know how to respond.
You're
I don't
my
know
special boy.
Adam, say something. I don't know what to say.
It's wild. I can recall Kevin sending me the link to the Facebook page And I was like, yeah, no, that looks cool. I'm glad you guys are Charger fans and trying to do something. And he's like, no, I want you to be a part of it. And I'm like, excuse me, what? Like, I didn't it threw me for a loop. I was like, I could, yeah, I guess. Okay. Yeah, fine. Let's do it. And it was just, it's been something to look forward to now, either every week when we have the season going or every 2 weeks. It's like, I know that I'm going to sit down and talk with you guys. And it's going to be fun because we're going to laugh. We're going to have a good time.
Talk some shit.
And
One of the Duggan guys are going to get mad at technology and almost throw a computer.
Somebody's going to get mad at something and it's going to make me laugh. So
yeah.
I've always looked forward to that. And I just can't believe that it's already been a year.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because if we're just deep dive, just what I remember of starting it. I know we don't want to reminisce too long on this, but it was just crazy because Kyle, out of the blue one day, he stopped coaching and didn't have much to do. He's like, dude, we should do a Charger podcast. And I was like, don't know why I didn't think of this before. What a genius idea. I'm glad that was brought up. And then that just sparked this whole thing. So, everyone that's been listening or been with us for a while, we thank you for coming along on this crazy ride, and feel like we've gotten better as we've moved along. So,
oh my gosh, yes.
We'll just keep getting better and keep covering the boys we love.
Comparatively, Kevin, since you deal with a lot of the statistics and analytics and everything like that, what has the growth been between episode 1 and our most recent episode?
So when we first did the first episode, they give you this simple analytics with like Apple and Spotify and all that stuff. And I think the first episode had like 45 listens.
So
and that was like
siblings,
aunts
and uncles,
telling us how proud they are of us.
Who are special boys, that kind of thing.
You sounded so good. You sounded so clear.
So proud of you.
I got to thank a lot of some of the guests we brought on, like Bolt God and Brian and some of these other guys that are also diehard fans, and they brought some people along to come hang out and enjoy what we're doing. So I can't thank them enough. And now we're well beyond that, and things are just keep going up, and we appreciate everybody listening. It's just been it validates everything we're trying to do, and just get this community together and have fun and talk about our boys. And it's been super rad. So I think it'd be kind of fun. That first episode no one has listened to, and in that episode, when we do our interviews, we always ask people like, how did you become Charger fans? So why don't we just do, instead of like playing that clip of that episode, let's just redo it, and we'll just fill you in on how we got here. And, won't take too long doing it, but I think it'd be kind of a fun refresher for people who didn't hear that, and get rolling. So Kyle, why don't you kick us off, Coach? And why do we call you Coach?
Yeah. So the thought of this podcast came up because after my playing days, I went into coaching, and I coached at the high school level for 10 years. Pretty much everything. I was a position coach at freshman football when I first started. I played high school football and then immediately went into coaching when I graduated. So I was a freshman linebacker coach, and then did that for 1 year and bumped up to JV linebacker coach. And then after a while, I was the varsity defensive coordinator at a local high school. And then got an opportunity to be the head coach at one of our local high schools for a couple of years. And then with a growing family and work and other things, unfortunately, high school coaches don't get paid anything. We work for less than minimum wage. It basically like covers the gas. And at least in Southern California, I know there's some schools out in Texas and
some Texas schools make a nice living coaching high school
there's some head
football.
coaches, head varsity football coaches that get paid some good money, but that wasn't the case. So I had to stop coaching with the dreams of once my oldest son gets into playing that I get to get back into it. But I wanted to be able to talk football still. Just I love the community and camaraderie and just cohesiveness of a fan base and what football does for people. So I wanted to continue that. So we got this started. But Chargers, it was just a family thing. My dad, they moved here to San Diego in the late 80s, 88, 89. I was born in 1990. And ever since then, we've been Charger fans. So my dad, we had season tickets for like 5 or 6 years. and it was the worst years.
It was not good years. No,
The worst years, but it was.
they were say-out years, but they weren't good years.
Oh God, we sucked. But it was still like nostalgic memories of going to the queue and tailgating. We had the same route that we drove. We had this little deli that was across the street. Over this little bridge. I don't remember the name of the deli.
Shit, I remember this. This is
that's
crazy.
all. That's
bringing this up.
we weren't like big time tailgaters. We would just get deli sandwiches, go eat them in the parking lot, and then head into the stadium. And I vividly remember that for several years. And then in my older years, I really became a fan, and it was for me. But it was also a thing for me and Kev. That's how we bonded for a long time. And that's what football is to me. It's just an opportunity to connect and bond. But the Chargers have been a lifelong thing. And it's grown even stronger as I've gotten older, even though they left San Diego. I love the camaraderie of football more than them being from San Diego or wherever they're representing. The Chargers are a part of my youth, my childhood, and who I am. But so we'll give the Duggans a little bit of a break. Let's hear Adam. What's your background in getting into football?
Football was always something that in retrospect, I wish I would have played. Because it looks like a lot of fun. I was so scared when I watched like professional football players and when they would get hurt and carted off the field or broken bones, or it scared me. I was like, oh my God, who would want this just to play a game? And in retrospect, I wish I would have played just because it does look like a lot of fun and you just kind of go with everything that happens. But in regards to the Chargers, I can, in the story that I mentioned in the first episode, I moved to San Diego in the 6th grade, and I originally lived in Santa Clarita, Newhall kind of area, Valencia. And when we were moving because my mom moved to San Diego, and I recall a friend going like, "Oh, you'll be a fan of the Chargers. You'll get to see the Chargers play." And it was like, for me, like football wasn't necessarily on my radar. It was always at like family gatherings. If we went to Thanksgiving, like everybody's watching football, and it was like, okay, it was something to do. So it was like, okay, yeah, the Chargers, whatever. And as I grew up in high school, I was always kind of aware of them, never really fully invested. Especially because that was like during the time of like Ryan Leaf. And it was just like, oh my God, that team's a joke. The team is a joke. Why would I be a fan of this team? But obviously, as time went on, Mr. Duggan and I ended up going to college together, and there would be multiple times that we would watch the Chargers, and we would go to bars, and we would just have a blast. It would just be fun, and I grew to love Phillip Rivers more than anybody else because of his passion for the game. So that kind of stuck with me. Even after coming up here to Idaho, it's become a regular thing, especially when we started doing fantasy football as well. I'm always picking Chargers on my fantasy football. So I want
a lot of Chargers all the time. I never get Chargers because Wooly always gets them like 3 rounds before they should. And I
can't help it. I can't help it. And I've at least won one fantasy football season. I haven't won a lot lately, but being a part of fantasy football gave me a reason to watch the Chargers because I'm always picking, at least if I can, Phillip Rivers or, some running backs, wide receivers, Antonio Gates when he was around. And it's now just kind of turned into this ritual between me and my dad to always watch the Charger games together. And when it's funny in retrospect now how we would always text each other at the very least about Charger games. I would text Kevin because I was like, well, Kevin's the only guy I know who's even a fan of these guys, to talk about like, oh man, wasn't that a great game and stuff like that. And so it's in retrospect, it's natural that we turn this into a podcast so that we can actually have dialogue and talk with each other and celebrate everything Charger related, and kind of console each other when there were down times, whether it's a down season, whether it's the team moving from San Diego to LA. That was a big thing for all of us.
Lots of consoling.
Yeah.
A lot of emotions for that. And it's funny because I re-listened to the first episode and just hearing how we kind of justified becoming, staying with the team, and and hearing Kyle talk about bandwagoning with the Patriots and how that was even a concept that even crossed his mind. We couldn't do it. It's just not who we are. We're too invested in this team, and not just one player, but all the players, and the coaching staff, and just where they're going. So that's my connection to it, is really Kevin, kind of lighting that spark and keeping it burning through fantasy football, through just interaction with me, and through now recommending us to do a podcast together. So it's all because of Kevin. So Kevin, how in the world did you become a Charger fan?
It's similar story you heard from Kyle. I was family group, born into that. When I finally got into sports, it was Chargers. I remember first Pop Warner day. It was embarrassing as hell, but I go to Pop Warner, my first practice. I get my, I have 55. I'm ready. That's the jersey I want. Everything. We go into the equipment room. They're getting all the gear. They give me my helmet. Put my helmet on. It just doesn't fit on my head because it's this fucking huge. It's unnecessarily big for like a 9-year-old. So they, the coach puts it on my head and just starts pounding it down to try and make it fit. Next thing you know, jam the shit out of my neck. I'm out for like 2.5 weeks.
Oh my God.
So that was my introduction to playing football. Got my number 55, so I was pretty pumped on that. But just kind of went from there, man. Tailgating, doing all this stuff with Kyle, my dad. I just the things I remember the most, oddly, are like the Raider games when things were going crazy around us, and like people were drunk and doing all this crazy stuff when we were little. And my dad was like protecting us, and still took us, and we saw all of it, but he was taking care of everything. So I just remember that vividly. Wow. And the kind of camaraderie, and then other people would step up to get in the way of Kyle and I, and it was just like this kind of like, it was like really good fan base at that time. It was really fun to follow, and it just kind of grew from there. I was always a continual fan. It never changed. And then I ended up moving to Missouri about 9 years ago for work. And as soon as I moved there, it like just stoked the fire, because you're living around Chiefs fans all the time, and they're so just brash, and they're in your face, and they're just Chiefs fans, and good for them. That's their team. But and my natural reaction as a person is to resist. So I resisted hard by becoming even a stronger Charger fan. So that was 9 years ago, and it's just that was Vincent Jackson. We still had LT. That was those teams. Right. Now it's carried to this, and now it's just part of my life so strongly. It's it's on my calendar. This is what I do this part of the year, and that's going to be like that for the foreseeable future. That's just football, and the Chargers is in my blood. So yeah, that's kind of how I came. I played through high school, did all that, and followed Chargers, and yeah, I love football, love Chargers, and yeah, that's why we're here.
Why we're here, folks. So 1 year in the books. Crazy that it happened.
Boltaversary, boys.
Happy Boltaversary, everybody. Crazy that our season 2 of Charger Chat is going into a questionable season. We didn't plan for it that way, that's for sure. So hopefully, fingers crossed, 2020 ends up not being a total dumpster fire. But as we did in the previous couple of episodes, we talked about some of our favorite moments of the previous year of 2018. So we decided that we're going to kind of talk a little bit about 2019 and what some of our favorite moments were from that. So I'll start it off. One of my absolute favorite moments of last season was the week 4 where the Chargers played against the Dolphins. And there were multiple reasons why it was my favorite game. Obviously we won. That's a big deal because we didn't have a ton to work with, but
one of our 5.
It was one of our 5.
One of 5.
It was our second highest point differential for wins that year. So we won 30-10, which was great. But one of the biggest reasons was this was week 4. This was the week that we were expected to get Gordon back. and he was back and he was on the sidelines, but he wasn't allowed to play. So it was basically the last time that we saw Eckler basically taking care of everything. And it was great. He ended up getting over 120 all-purpose yards, had 2 touchdowns, 1 rushing, 1 receiving. It was awesome to see him doing that. It was also the last game where we utilized Ty Long as both our punter and our kicker. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, crazy.
Like, to have the guy be both the punter and the kicker, he was 3 for 3 on his extra points. He was 3 for 3 on his field goals, and he was punting. And God, what a underappreciated player. If anybody deserves an extension, it's Ty Long.
Yeah.
But my absolute biggest reason why that was my favorite game was it was the game that I got to hang out with Kevin.
Oh,
And
yeah, we watched it together.
We watched it together.
Buddy.
That was the first time that we basically got to hang out with each other in almost 10 years, folks. So to
Crazy.
have it be celebrated by not just being able to share the game with each other and cheer together and yell and scream, but to have it end up being a W and to share with each other was just the absolute best. So that was my favorite moment of 2019. Top that, coach.
That was good, man. That was in depth.
That was
a lot of
Did
thought.
my
3
homework.
Your 3 points. That was really good.
Yes.
My favorite moment or favorite game from last year was week 9 or week 10 when we beat the Packers. There's a lot. I'll think of 3 points. Here we go.
Here it comes.
Point 1. First point. Going into the season, we had a lot of expectations for our Bolts. We had a very great year. We beat the Ravens in the playoffs, obviously tanked out against the Pats, but we thought we would roll into this season. We didn't really have a huge turnover in our roster, and it was kind of a letdown. We were 4-5 going into the game. So it was like, man, this kind of sucks. This is not the season we were hoping for. And we get to play a Packers team, which the Packers are a perennial powerhouse. They're usually a good team. And they were 7-2 at that point, and they were kind of lighting up the stat charts, and everyone was talking about them. No one really talked about our game because they just assumed the Packers would get a W.
Of course.
And we come out and absolutely punch them in the mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And the best part was we shut down Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
In every way. He was 23 of 35 for 160 yards and 1 touchdown. And 160 yards.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. They rushed for 45 yards.
That's unreal.
We just shut them down, and it was a very encouraging, that was the bright point of the season for me.
Right.
Point 2 is my sister-in-law, who I love, Miss Josie Duggan,
My wife.
Kevin's wife.
My wife.
My wife.
She's a shareholder for the Green Bay Packers, so she'll claim that she's an owner. And so anytime we have an opportunity to
She is.
them,
I have the certificate. It's mounted on a wall
Whatever
somewhere
that
in my
means.
house. It's proudly
whatever
shown.
that means. But so we were able to beat them. So I didn't. Obviously, I'm a gentleman. I didn't text Josie and rub it in her face. But
you did talk to me on my phone, and she could hear you talking shit through my phone. So she did hear you.
In the back of my mind, I was thinking, I felt good. Because when the Packers have won 3 Super Bowls since Kevin was with Josie. So I've heard about the Packers' success too much. So that felt really good. And the third point was...
We hadn't beaten them since 1984.
Exactly.
That was
a historic
welcome.
win.
You're welcome, brother.
Historic win. So yeah, those are my 3 points. Kevin,
Wow.
hit us.
That's actually 2. I kind of chimed in.
It's 3 points.
It's
So-
2.5.
I'm gonna go. This is a petty one for sure. It was another W, but it was the reason why it was my favorite moment. It was for multiple reasons.
I think I know what it is.
3 reasons?
We'll see. I already used 1 to help you, so I really only need to do 2. So it's when we beat the Bears.
Of course. I knew it.
For the reason for this is a couple. One, I love same thing. Brother-in-law, my sister's husband, Tyler, diehard Bears fan. Bears tattoos.
We had him on. We had him on the podcast.
He was on
did?
the pod. He's way back when we did that. So when you get to beat a family member, it's nice. even though I love him. It was nice beating my wife, like beating her down, but it was nice beating.
Please don't take that out of context, folks. Please don't
yeah.
take that out of
Yeah.
context.
Oh wow. I didn't
His
think that
wife.
through when I said it.
The team he
Oh,
supports beat the
shit.
team that she supports.
Like, sorry, yeah, I don't physically beat down my wife, like her team. Sorry, let me clarify. But it was also nice to beat down my brother-in-law. So beating him down was great. Then also, when we do games, if you're new to joining us just in the off season, we do bolt predictions. So leading up to the game, we give out some random facts that are usually we're not even anywhere close to what it was. And when we
Bolt
played the Bears,
predictions.
we did bolt predictions,
Mhm.
and I have no idea why I predicted this. There's no rhyme or reason. I just pulled it out of my ass. It was, we were going to beat the Bears, and my prediction was we're going to win by 17. It was going to be 17-16. We were going to win by 1 point. Bosa was going to have 2 sacks, and we were going to win by a missed field goal at the end by the Bears.
Unreal.
That happened to a T.
Yeah.
I think I ruined any possibility of ever winning the lottery. I think
Yeah.
that's gone. That's
You
out the
used
window.
it.
I used all my juju for that game.
Golden
So-
ticket.
Just because I just destroyed you guys in my predictions was also
was
really
amazing.
awesome. So
That was incredible.
I don't think I'll ever have that again. It was a really high point in my career as a Charger podcast analyst. And I'll just kind of take that with me, get a plaque somewhere in my house, in my office, and kind of ride off into the sunset with that bold prediction. So that was it. I just remember vividly having our first episode where we had so much to talk about, all these games, all the
Yeah.
stuff that happened the previous year. And this year, there's really not a lot to hang our hat on. So let's kick some ass this year. Let's kick
This
some
year.
ass this year.
Let's make it happen. So there you go, folks. Our favorite moments of 2019 in the books. And as we've been doing these past couple episodes, we will wrap up this episode with a thrilling rendition of Rochambolt. So
Let's go.
The showdown.
The showdown has
Bros,
finally
bro.
happened, folks.
Bro
It
versus
is
bro. Let's go. Bro.
Duggan versus
bro down.
Duggan in a Rochambolt. So just to explain for those who haven't, if you haven't been around for prior episodes, I'm going to ask the Duggan brothers a few trivia questions regarding the Chargers. And one of those questions near the end might be kind of a what if situation that I might, end up giving all of the points to, even though one might be smarter than the other.
Kevin, are you listening to the rules?
I'm listening. I'm aware. You messed up the last one too. I don't know why you're sitting on a high horse.
No, I didn't.
You did. Shut up.
So I am going to throw out some trivia. I'm going to give out some possibilities. This is multiple choice, and we'll see how well the Duggan brothers do. Now, I will say right now, if you know the answer, just say the answer when I say it's time to say the answer. Don't say it ahead of time.
Patience, Kevin.
Patience is a virtue. Do we all understand this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Here we go. First question. Who has the Chargers record for most passing yards in a season? You know the answer, don't say it. But here
Thanks
are
for
your
reminding
options.
me. I almost said it.
I know I could see it in your eyes. Here are your options. Dan Fouts, Doug Flutie, Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers.
Okay, here's the
Most-
hard part. I had a feeling coming into this that every one of the answers was going to be Phillip Rivers.
I know.
Yes, you love him so much. You were going to find a way to ask a trick question
Just, you were
every
gonna
time,
ask-
and it would
Yep.
always be Phillip Rivers.
I had a really strong feeling, but now I'm thinking Adam knew we were
Did
going to
I
think
Got a
that.
twist in it.
So he's throwing us off with the
Am I-
Doug Flutie.
Are you getting a curvy there?
All right, so we have Phillip Rivers, Doug
Phillip
Flutie.
Rivers, Doug Flutie, Drew Brees, or Dan Fouts. Who has the most passing yards in a season? On a count of 3, let me hear you say it. A 1, a 2, a 3.
Dan Fouts.
Rivers.
I was shocked
Shit.
to see that Dan Fouts has the most passing yards in a season at 4,802 back in 1981.
Yeah.
Phillip Rivers had 4,792.
Oh my
10
God.
yards short of having the most passing yards in a season. So Dan Fouts currently holds the record, and it's been there since 1981.
I don't know
All
if this video is going to
Cordell.
work, but my body roll.
Good body roll. Dude. Get out of here with that shit.
One for
Okay.
coach. One for coach. All right.
Fuck.
Of the Chargers, who has the most receiving touchdowns in a single game?
Single game.
In a single game.
So you only had to have a good game.
It was a good game. Is it Keenan Allen, Lance Allworth, Kellen Winslow, LaDainian Tomlinson?
Shit, dude.
What's the number? Do you know that? Can we get the number? How many touchdowns did they have?
They had 5 touchdowns, which is tied for the most among all players from all teams. I think
One
there's
more time.
3 or 4 that have 5 in a single game. Keenan Allen, Lance Allworth, Kellen Winslow, LaDainian Tomlinson. Most
All right,
receiving
ready,
touchdowns
ready.
in a single game on a count of
It's
tree.
hard.
A 1, a 2, a 3.
Winslow.
One more-
Oh, shit.
Wait, what did you say?
Allworth. I got Allworth.
Allworth and Coach, you
Kellen
said
Winslow.
Kellen Winslow. Ooh, it's going to be a sweep, folks. Kellen Winslow had 5 receiving touchdowns also in 1981.
This is such bullshit. Quit
Sorry.
flexing, bro. Stop flexing on me. Cut it out.
All right. Here is
Dude, this is no way.
Here's a third one for you to possibly redeem yourself, Kevin. Then we're not to the what if. I've got one more question, then we'll get to the what if. How many retired numbers do the Chargers have? Now, obviously, Phillip Rivers is no longer part of the team, but they've not retired his number yet. And Antonio Gates just recently retired, so they've not retired his number yet. So take those 2 out because they've not officially happened yet. Is it 2, 3, 4, or 5? How many Chargers have retired numbers? 2, 3, 4, or 5? On the count of 3. A 1, a 2, a 3.
4. 5. I gotta go for it. I gotta give myself an opportunity to do this. If I say 4 and we tie, that doesn't do anything for me.
Well,
5.
You pulled the rug out from under your own feet there, Kev. There's 4 retired numbers.
What am I supposed to do? I can't win this if I tie you there.
Lance Allworth, Dan Fouts, Junior
God, I'm
Seau, and
so
LaDainian
good at
Tomlinson
this.
are all the retired numbers that we have.
I don't like being in the
currently.
same room anymore. This sucks. I don't like looking
All
at
right,
them.
here is
This
your
is
chance,
bullshit.
Kevin. This what if
5
question
points. This
is
is
It's
a
4-point
four-pointer?
question.
it's totally geared to you, Kev.
Okay. So you can't say that, and I don't do well. This
Yeah, now
sucks,
if you
dude.
lose,
You're
you're
setting me
upset.
up to fail with that.
I'm trying to boost your confidence so that you
I don't
know
need
that,
it. I'm fully confident, but I'm scared now.
All right, well, here it comes.
The competitiveness is just
Here is-
I'm
flowing.
gonna smack you, Kyle. Shut up.
Here is the what if, folks.
I'm not stressed at all about this final question.
I told you I wasn't either.
let's say a major studio comes to you and says, we want to make a movie about a Charger. It can be any Charger player during any era. Which Charger is the main character of this movie and who plays them?
I have mine.
Okay. Going to the coach.
Can I answer?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, Austin Eckler, and it's Mark Wahlberg. And he would do a great job.
Why? Why would you pick Mark Wahlberg?
Because he was in Invincible, and it was a great movie. And Austin Eckler is the underdog story that everyone wants to hear. So I already know he can do it.
Oh man.
I just
That
okay.
would
I got
be
it. I'm
that
ready.
would be the
I'm
role of
ready.
a lifetime, Mark Wahlberg, if you ever
That
get
would be
offered.
that would be pretty
Austin
awesome.
Eckler's
The story still needs to be told though. He's still pretty young in his script.
I like
It's only
it.
in
Though.
the. It's not even into the.
You could
third
cut
act
it
yet.
after the rookie season.
That's
that's
true.
where
he
That,
made it.
that could be the
He made it.
climax.
He made it.
He
Yeah.
gets his
Right,
contract. He signs
Mine's
his name.
super easy. It's the easiest thing I could have
Phillip
come up with.
Rivers, because that's
Ready?
what Adam's going
No,
to
it's not. It's Junior Seau, played by The Rock.
Oh, that's good.
Ooh.
That's pretty
The
good.
Junior Seau story, played by The Rock, Dwayne The Rock
I don't know if
Johnson.
The Rock's good enough to do that. He's funny, but he's I don't
He's
know if
Hawaiian. He can do it.
Okay.
He can channel
Yeah.
it.
I could totally see that. Man, now now all I can do is picture The Rock in Jersey in a 55.
And he played football. It
He
makes more
played
sense.
football.
Wahlberg didn't play
But
football.
what if Marky Mark comes out with his band at halftime and also does the halftime show?
All right.
Stop body rolling. God damn it.
It felt right for that situation.
Coach, I think that's a solid answer. I think that would be the role of a lifetime for Mark Wahlberg to
He's
to
Vince
play
Papale, dude. He's done it.
But I've got to give it to Kev. That was the best answer I could think of. That wouldn't be Phillip Rivers.
So is that a tie? I guess that's a tie. I'd feel bad losing on that. I feel that should be a tie.
I'll let you guys figure it out off mic who won.
Bonus
that.
question. Bonus question.
You guys
Do
can argue
quick.
it. Okay. Bonus question.
Who's mom's favorite? Me. Answer. Done. 5. Win.
Okay, there it is, folks. Favorite has been self-proclaimed.
No, sorry. Go ahead. I'm just speaking truth there. Go ahead.
Okay. Can you name the most, the Charger who has scored the most points? Can you just name them?
Scored the most
John
points?
Carney.
That is correct. John Carney.
All right, this is this episode. Happy anniversary, you assholes!
All right, folks. There
You should have left on a high note.
I
Don't ask
tried-
John
a bonus
Carney. How did
question.
you pull John Carney out of that?
Dude, I just know stuff.
All right.
All right, Kev. Well, you can at least hang your hat that you knew that Taylor Swift was supposed to perform first.
Yeah,
at
you're
Never gonna live that down.
Stadium.
Never gonna live that down.
Taylor Swift.
Never gonna live that down.
You've got
You
that
just
negative knowledge.
John Carney. You kind of Taylor Swifted me with John Carney because I didn't get a chance.
It was just who
bonus
could name
question.
it.
Yeah, who can name it? He said who can name
Whatever.
it first.
Let's just
Let's cut. Let's go. Let's cut to commercial,
Get
folks.
outta
That's going to
here.
do it for us here at Charger Chat. Thanks for sticking around with us. For those of you that have been with us the full year, thank you. Those of you who have reached out to us to give us the kind words and the emotional support, we can't thank you enough because you are the most vocal of that group. And we wouldn't, it would be tough to continue doing this without that. But as long as Squirrel Squad 404 is out there saying that we're the best damn Charger podcast, I'm going to keep doing it. So
We're doing
Squirrel
it for you,
Squad,
Squirrel
this is a
Squad.
shout out to you, buddy. Don't forget, folks, to bolt up because we're ready for any squad, any place.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Hey, love you. Bye.
God damn it! I fucked that up.
And now, a word from our sponsors. Two men from two different times, brought together by one team.
This could be a game changer for me.
Mark Wahlberg is Austin Eckler.
What the hell are you doing on the ground? That pain's what's gonna save your life. Your cells remember where it hurts, and that's where they get strong. You gonna man up? You better.
And Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is Junior Seau.
Jesus Christ himself has blessed me with many gifts. One of them is knocking someone out.
And Phillip Rivers as himself.
I can deal with his impotence. I cannot deal with your incompetence.
Are you ready to go out there and take what's yours? Yeah! What you worked hard for? Yeah!
Any squad, any place. Coming to a living room near you.